A Georgia teacher is fired after a viral video shows the educator writing the N-word on a whiteboard during class. We're talking about that and much more on Educated.
Let's get educated. That's why we're here, to bring you the stories impacting K-12 classrooms and college campuses. It's time for a little education.
Well, everyone, it is Friday, but it's not just Friday around here.
Yes.
It is a good Friday here on Educated. I am Katie Petrick, joined by Mr. David Fiorazo.
Hello, friends. Why do they call it good?
Because it's about to be a great Sunday.
That good answer.
That's what I like to say.
You're quick.
This
You're
is
quick.
what I like
Why
to
do
say.
they call it? Yeah.
Because it's about to be a great
Yeah,
Sunday.
absolutely.
That's how I frame it always.
Yeah.
But before we get started, by any metric, public schools are failing our country. We graduate kids who can't read, they can't write, or they can't do math at grade level. But Freedom Project Academy has perfected online learning for 15 years, offering live, anytime, and homeschool courses for students in pre-kindergarten through high school. And to celebrate 15 years of academic excellence, we are offering a 15% discount on all courses. Visit freedomforschool.com. That's freedom, F-O-R, school.com, and use the code EDUCATED15 to save 15%. Again, use the code EDUCATED15 to save 15% on all courses at Freedom Project Academy. Visit freedomforschool.com to get started. Now, on this good Friday,
Thank you, Jesus. By the way, thank you, Jesus.
We'll take this moment.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Jesus, for us not being at this school district at this moment in North Georgia. What in the world? The language they are using down there.
I know.
What is
and
happening?
who knows that? And we were just talking before we got on the program today how there's not a lot of context that I think would be helpful to this story, like what class were they in, what was the assignment, and the conversation. We need more details. But here's the scoop. A North Georgia school staff member was fired after writing a racial slur on the board. Gasp. Because we don't know the details behind it. Anyway, a video was recorded inside a Walton County school. It went viral, and that's probably why the guy was fired. So it was a Walnut Grove staff member, and according to Adriana Wyatt, she said that should have never been brought up in a classroom, like ever. So there's the teacher. We're going to watch the news story, and we'll come back and talk about it.
The video is pretty disturbing right from the beginning. It shows a staff member at Walnut Grove High School write out the N-word with one letter missing. Then in the video, you hear a student off camera shout out the final letter. R. The person at the front of the classroom then completes writing the racial slur, while some of the students whose faces we blurred cheer and laugh. The video then abruptly ends. There was a lot of laughter in the video. Why do you think some of the kids thought it was funny?
Because they knew that it was probably embarrassing. There was black kids in the classroom.
Tuesday, we spoke with Adriana Wyatt by phone. She says the daughter of a family friend recorded the incident last week. Both Adriana and her mother reposted the video.
People need to be held accountable for that. It is not okay to make these students feel a certain type of way while they're in your classroom.
We reached out to the Walton County School District. In a statement, a district spokesperson wrote, quote, Walton County School District is aware of the video that is circulating and we are investigating. The individual involved is no longer employed with the Walton County School District.
He probably got these students thinking it's cool to say that. They probably saying it now.
Yes, that's what I think. I think he interpreted it right at the end. Based on all that we saw, which there could have been a whole lot more context going on with this. But it did appear that the kids were like getting amped up for it. Like, yeah, like you said, they were kind of hollering and laughing and giggling and all that stuff. What the point of that was for that teacher, we don't know. What class that was, we don't know.
Well, apparently he was the wrestling coach. So I don't know what class that was, and I mean, I'm not standing up for the teacher necessarily. I'm just saying, that I wish we had more details on this. They could have been saying, hey, so what kind of words shouldn't we use anymore? That we used to use or whatever, even in wrestling.
Well, yeah, and
calling
that
each other names.
His name's Robert Walker, and he's the assistant wrestling coach, and maybe some people in the class knew him, and so they were like, "Coach is writing this, but why were you writing it? Why was there certain letters put up and not others?" And then, like, why? I'm an English teacher, and as an English teacher, we read books that have the N-word in it, and guess what we do in class? We skip over, we say N-word, move on. You have a discussion with students before you engage with a text and help them to understand the context of why that word was put into that piece of literature beforehand. But to put the word on the board and for what purpose?
On the board, it's interesting.
I don't understand, know. But it is interesting that it seems like it was a father at the end of that news broadcast who was like, trying to have the kids think that it's cool. There was a time when I was growing up, you listen to a lot of the hip hop music, a lot of the words in those songs were the N-word, and it was okay, quote unquote okay, to say that depending on who you are. So now we're policing language. Who gets to say it and who doesn't get to say it?
Yeah,
it's
because if you want to talk about history, if you want, who knows again what the context was. Let's jump to the end real quick on this one. Channel 2 Action News has not been able to confirm what led up to the word being written on the board, so they don't know. There's no word on whether students seen laughing and cheering the video will be disciplined.
So, and this is
oh my goodness.
Whatever, if that teacher was putting it on the board for absolutely no purpose, he should be fired. Okay, got it. But why are the kids cheering so loudly and seemingly
something had to be going on?
And also, per usual, why are we having cell phones in the classroom to be recording our teachers?
Well, I kind of like some of these videos that we're catching teachers doing things, usually with the transgender stuff or the warped ideology or the Marxism in the classroom, stuff like that. I'm glad we're catching some of these because without the iPhones we wouldn't. But yeah, I agree that it can be problematic if the kids got phones. So there's a double-edged sword. But back to the story, Katie, there's a lot that we don't know. But anyway,
this is true. Moving on to the big city, the Big Apple.
Yeah?
New York. Investing in our children. That's the slogan.
Really?
Investing in our children. That's what the sign says on the front of a podium that the mayor, Eric Adams, stands behind to announce that the city will hire more than 3,700 new public school teachers in an effort to do what? Reduce the class sizes.
Okay.
Let's just see what he had to say at this news conference.
Oh, brother.
On a school auditorium stage in Ridgewood, Queens, bursting with students.
By hiring, yes, I am the mayor.
Mayor Eric Adams announced New York City is hiring more teachers, thousands of them, in order to shrink class sizes.
This is an incredible benefit. It's a game changer for the educational landscape of our entire city.
The largest school district in the country is under pressure to meet the state's sweeping class size law, which will require recruiting 3,700 teachers within the next 3 years.
It is our job now to take that law and execute it.
The law says class sizes must be capped at 20 students in kindergarten through third grade classes, 23 students in grades 4 through 8, 25 students in high school classes. Only 46% of schools are meeting those standards.
3,700 teachers is not easy to recruit,
especially when there is a national shortage of STEM and special education teachers. The president of the teachers union is hopeful the smaller class size pitch, plus an upcoming pay bump in the fall, will entice teachers from districts outside of the city.
We want to say, stay here or come here.
A teacher who is definitely staying.
Most of my classes have 32 students in them.
Is Tracy Ivanek, who not only teaches in Maspeth, but is now in charge of deciding which classes at her school get the new teachers.
I said, give it to me. I know where to put it. I know where the need is.
And some packed schools will have a need for more classrooms. The city says funding from the mayor's executive budget will also pay for underutilized rooms to be converted into classrooms.
Oh, there's so much in here, Katie. There's so much. Good to know the teachers get a pay bump, though. So recruiting close to 4,000, 3,700 teachers. Do you think they'll drop the standards a little bit and just to get a body in the rooms? I mean,
I feel like we are there already.
This is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, apparently it's nearly 750 schools across the 5 boroughs. 750 schools. And they're saying they need more space. They're going to need more resources. They're going to need more everything, which... How do you get those things? Oh, yes, money.
Taxpayer money.
Money.
Ultimately,
So
they're going to need more taxpayer dollars. You're welcome.
I am very conflicted on this one. I mean, looking at those numbers, though, yes, that is what they should have. How is it that we've gotten to this point, though, especially in New York City, where it's always, we got to pay more, money, give us more money.
Right.
What have you been doing? Is this not a clear... evidence that we have not been utilizing the money that's been given to this point? Where has all that money gone? Because it clearly hasn't been going to the classroom.
There's the question that has never been answered really in detail or thoroughly.
So we're just like, just ignore the past. We want to reduce class sizes because clearly we've been letting these class sizes grow and it hasn't been working. And so now we need to reduce them, but that's going to take even more money. Okay, what? How does this keep happening?
One thing I'm very, very impressed with is how well the students, the kids were able to write those signs out so neatly. They printed out those signs. They weren't, manufactured or mass produced or anything like that by some left-wing organization. But the students really and they knew what they were holding up, right?
Jeez Louise.
Some of these young kids, they're holding up a sign going, I don't know, they just told me to hold it up.
Yeah, so here's a little note. The City Department of Education has already hired 1,000 additional teachers for the current school year. According to the mayor, as a child that grew up here in Queens, I know how important reducing the class size is, right? He's like, as you heard, right? He's very adamant about this.
Yeah.
Adamant about it. It's the best way to help our students learn. It's not just that,
goodness.
Size of the class.
The best
it's
way,
the actual content that you are trying to teach them. Are you trying to teach them? Or are you just trying to give them a certain narrative that fits your political agenda? Mayor Adams, please tell me more.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, with the warped worldviews and the radical, demonic, let's just call it for what it is, ideologies that are being shoved down the social justice, the LGBTQ agenda, all this stuff. Do you really think class size is the most important? I disagree. I'm not saying that class size is an issue across the country, but just to tackle that and not to change anything else, we're still going to get the same results. Isn't that the definition of insanity?
Mm-hmm. Well, don't worry. The United Federation of Teachers President Michael Mulgrew is all for it. So that tells you where everything is.
Okay.
All right. Well, anyway, we've scratched the surface a little bit here on this episode of Educated. Stay with us, friends.
Catch Freedom Project's lineup of shows daily at noon Central. Starting on Monday, we have Educated. On Tuesday, we have the Dr. Duke Show with Vicki McKenna. Wednesday continues with another episode of the Dr. Duke Show with Dr. Jake Jacobs. Thursday, we have One Nation. And Friday, we wrap up the week with another episode of Educated. Catch Freedom Project's lineup of shows daily at noon Central.
New research. Katie's going to love this one. I don't think she'll have much to say about it, though.
Yeah.
This research backs standardized tests as a predictor of college success without bias. So the SAT and ACT scores, they say, are a better gauge of academic success than a high school GPA, according to this study. So as you know, they've been pulling back on the SATs and these standardized tests, the ACTs. But this was published on the National Bureau of Economic Research. And the state researchers analyzed the relationship between students' standardized test scores and their grades in high school and the grades in college. And so the test scores predict academic outcomes with a normalized slope, they're saying, 4 times greater than that from a high school GPA, all conditional on students' race, gender, and socioeconomic status. Some universities, as I mentioned, recently began requiring SAT or ACT scores from applicants again after they dropped them during the COVID-19 pandemic. Katie, your thoughts on this? Because we have we did some shows on the SATs and ACTs and all that.
Yeah. Well, when Harvard, Yale, all of the Ivies decided, you know what? It's so racist of us and sexist of us
to be testing
testing for ACT, SAT, and most of them do SATs anyway. We shouldn't do that anymore. And especially they used COVID as an excuse for especially this time.
Jeez.
Why is it that now, all of a sudden, they're like, oh, and now you must submit your test scores again. It's just part of the application again. It's because they saw that they were accepting students who should not have been in the classroom, who were not prepared to sit in the whatever science class, math class, English class. They were not prepared for it. And because if they were just looking at, personal essays and all the personal victimization struggles they may have had as the reason to get into college, instead of taking a look at, wow, in the math portion of the ACT, they scored a 17. And instead of actually looking at that and being like, well, that means maybe they're not prepared to be in our math classes yet, they looked at those essays and GPAs, which are given by humans, not objectively, but very much so subjectively. And so the fact that they have it back is showing you that maybe we are trying to get back on course and give us the big M word of meritocracy. Maybe meritocracy.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. We'll see. But at least it's going in the correct direction ever so slightly.
Yeah, I want to emphasize the point that you made, that without these tests and knowing the test scores, a lot of students were in college. They weren't doing very well because they weren't prepared. Because for whatever reasons, and this is across the board. It has nothing to do with race or all these other things. It's pretty, as you said, it's normalized, but they weren't ready so to not have the test scores, to not gauge or find out where students are coming from. I never thought that was a good idea to pull them.
Well, anyway, if you think about this, flip it the other way. People were always saying, well, you can't have this SAT or ACT. It's racist. It's sexist. It's all this. It's unfair to poor people. Oh, any litany of excuses for why, inner city students weren't doing as well as maybe some of these other more rural
and so students. You take the scores, you take you remove the tests, and you let them go to college, and they still won't be able to read and do math and write and do all the stuff they're supposed to do.
And so here's the question, David: who was the big bad meanie in this whole thing? It's the people who accepted these kids, adults, into college unprepared. So now it's not, hey, your test score wasn't high enough, you cannot come into our college. It's, hey, thank you for coming into our college and getting yourself racked up $40,000, $50,000, $100,000 in debt. Now go off into the world. Who did the bigger disservice to the child? Well, student, adult, whatever. It's those colleges who were accepting them. So you want to play the it's not fair game and victimhood mentality? Like, you're the ones causing it there, universities. Thank you for finally going back to accepting the standardized test.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now can you teach the kids how to read and write too?
Can
and
you
do
get
some
back
math?
to teaching, please?
Exactly.
Instead of telling them what to think and indoctrinizing them?
Please. All right. Well, we'll get off our soapboxes because we have a little competition, I guess, coming up after the break. Bring back your sweet tooth. Back in a minute.
In 2024, we find ourselves at a pivotal moment where the call for unity, freedom, and a better future echoes louder than ever. Introducing Patriot Mobile, the wireless carrier that stands with you. We are committed to supporting the values that make our nation great. With affordable plans and reliable nationwide coverage, Patriot Mobile is not just a wireless service. It's a call to action for those who believe in the American dream.
Get free activation now with promo code EDUCATED. Well, it looks like we have a bit of excitement going on because it's officially spring around here. All right, it looks like we have 5 cups, so that means 5 jelly beans are in front of us, and we're being told that they have different coffee flavors. Is that what that is?
What?
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Caramel. Is that caramel? Tastes like caramel to me. Oh, wait. Now I'm getting a hint of something else.
Butterscotch.
I was just going to say butterscotch. I just got a hint of something
Is
else
it-
at
what
the
is
tail
it?
end. It is caramel
Caramel latte. You got it
I get
right.
closer. Okay.
All right, 2.
I need some water. This is...
All right, 2.
Eh.
Okay, butterscotch.
Coconut?
Toasted coconut.
Oh!
All right, I'm
There's
working
a-
2.
there was a-
You're 2 for 2.
There was a hint of summer suntan lotion, and I didn't like it.
Here we go.
Okay.
I
like
wait for
candy.
the aftertaste. But they all taste the same.
Well, now it tastes different. The aftertaste makes it... How can it be pineapple?
Butterscotch.
It can't be pineapple. It's coffee.
Butter pecan! I got the butter right, so I got like a half point for that one. I got a half point.
I guess pineapple is definitely not
All right,
coffee.
next, number 4.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, what is that?
Gross. All right?
Scotch.
Gross. Oh,
hazelnut. That's it.
That's not
That was it.
hazelnut.
I don't know.
That is
Okay, number
gross.
5.
People, don't buy this.
We didn't know we were going to be doing this
I
today,
didn't
by the way.
know I was
Here
doing
we
any
go.
of this. What do we
Here we
do?
go. I just got a flash
No idea.
from the movie theater, and I think it's a good and plenty.
I'm going off of
Toasted marshmallow?
look.
French vanilla. We're fucking-
Well, close enough.
What's wrong with my taste buds?
I think it's wrong with whoever made these jelly beans.
Yeah, the jelly beans are questionable.
All right, well, if anyone out there wants to try this game on their own and for some reason you just want to go out and eat these, please get the Dunkin' Ice Coffee flavored jelly beans.
We did that because of Resurrection Week.
Yeah, that's what
Easter,
jelly beans.
Easter and Resurrection
Jelly beans,
Week.
it's totally part of it. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, either way, that's going to wrap up this episode. Very special episode. Good Friday episode of Educated. We're going to be back again next Monday after Easter at noon Central. But until then, have a wonderful Easter, right, David?
Yes, and be thankful that the tomb is still empty.
All right. Now, for David and myself, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And thank you for supporting what we do. Until next time, stay educated, America.